Tonight on Global TV News Prime, newly appointed Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikaoye, officially assumes office. In business, National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria's petrol import bill fell to 87.40 billion naira in first quarter of this year. On the foreign scene, Pope Leo XIV arrives Barcelona to bless world's tallest church. And tonight in sports, Sanoka commends Nigeria's preparations for Abuja 2027 games. Hello everyone, welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe, reminding all of our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276. Tonight, let's begin by telling you a pro-government advocacy group has called for greater public enlightenment on the ongoing reforms and infrastructure projects by President Bola Tinubu across the country. The group made the call during a courtesy visit to former Kano State Governor Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje at his residence in Abuja to solicit his support for their nationwide campaign aimed at promoting awareness of government policies and achievements. Sadatu Garba was there for Global Television.
Speaking during the visit, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje commended the group's efforts, noting that public mobilization and enlightenment are critical to national development. He emphasized that major infrastructure projects, including the Coastal Highway, the Ajakuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline, and ongoing railway development have the potential to transform the nation's economy through industrialization, job creation, improved transportation, and regional trade.
There's no doubt that there is a gap with respect of what our progressive leader, Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is doing to Nigeria. Some are not completely aware. Some are aware, but they don't know the positive impact.
Director General of Relax Tinubu is Fixing Nigeria, Ahmed Bala, reiterated the mission of the campaign, which is to counter misinformation and educate Nigerians about government policies and achievements. He noted that many Nigerians, particularly young people, are not fully aware of the programs and initiatives being implemented by the government.
Mostly the youths today they cannot even figure out what the president has done so far. So our setting, our relapse today is to go around tell Nigerians the good work of Mr. President.
The group stated that public rallies and awareness campaigns have already been organized in parts of the country and plans to expand its activities nationwide. It also appealed for strategic and financial support to enable reach to more communities and deepen public engagement on governance and development issues. Sadatu Garba, Global TV News.
Many thanks, Datu. Nigeria's newly appointed Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikaoye, has officially assumed office with a pledge to strengthen the country's diplomatic engagements and advance President Bola Tinubu's foreign policy agenda. Foreign Affairs correspondent Abo Ramsey Enoch now reports.
Barely hours after being sworn in by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Ambassador Shola Enikaoye formally assumed duty at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, marking the beginning of a new chapter in Nigeria's diplomatic engagement. The seasoned diplomat, while addressing management and staff of the ministry, expressed gratitude to President Tinubu for the confidence reposed in him and pledged unwavering commitment to the administration's renewed hope agenda. Ambassador Enikaoye reaffirmed the federal government's determination to protect the interests of Nigerians both at home and abroad while strengthening the country's voice and influence on regional and global issues.
I am convinced that it is only through teamwork that we can envision and realize a ministry that is the signature of all eyes very proactive, innovative, and globally competitive.
The Minister of State also promised to work closely with stakeholders and development partners to address institutional challenges, improve service delivery, and reposition the ministry for greater efficiency and impact.
For its realization, one driven by vision, expertise, which undoubtedly resides here in this building, in our unwavering pursuit of Nigeria's national interest.
He emphasized the importance of professionalism, innovation, and teamwork in achieving the ministry's objective, expressing confidence that collective efforts would further enhance Nigeria's standing in the international community. Ramsey Enoch Agbo, Global TV News.
The deputy spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Philip Agbese, has commended the Nigerian Armed Forces for what he described as their exceptional performance despite financial and operational challenges following the recent rescue of 360 abductees from the Mandara Mountains in Benue State. The Nigerian military, particularly troops of Operation Hiding K, for the successful rescue of 360 abductees from the Mandara Mountains, a notorious terrorist enclave in the southern part of the state. Let's turn to other stories for you tonight. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has ordered the deployment of Deputy Inspectors General of Police to the 6 geopolitical zones as security agencies intensify efforts to rescue students abducted in Oyo State. The move is part of broader measures aimed at strengthening operational effectiveness and tackling violent crimes across the country. Defense correspondent Kikelamo Okere has details for us.
Determined to tighten security nationwide and secure the release of adopted students in Oyo State, the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has announced the deployment of Deputy Inspector General of Police to the 6th geopolitical zone of the country. Addressing senior officers during a strategic conference in Abuja, IGP Disu described the Oyo School adoption as an active operation, assuring Nigerians that security agencies are making significant progress towards the safe rescue of the victims. He reaffirmed the commitment of the police force and its partners to ensuring that the abducted students are reunited with their families unharmed.
The adoption of school children in Oyo State remains an active operation. I wish to assure that their families and Nigerians that the full operational capacity of the force, in coordination with sister agencies, is committed to securing their return safely. Let me make it clear that this deployment is not ceremonial. It is intended to bring leadership closer to the field, improve response mechanism, and ensure that emerging security threats received prompt and coordinated attention.
He further ordered a nationwide crackdown on vehicles operating without registration plate or with concealed, altered, or defaced number plate, noting that such vehicles are often used by kidnappers and other criminal groups to evade detection. The IGP warns that offending vehicles would be impounded and subjected to legal procedures, stressing that the enforcement exercise will be carried out without exception.
Today, the Nigerian police force will no longer tolerate such acts of impunity. Every vehicle operating on our roads must be properly registered and must display its approved registration number in accordance with the law. Any vehicle found without number plates or with deliberate, obscured, concealed, or tampered registration number will be stopped, impounded, and subjected to the appropriate legal process.
The latest directives underscores the police force's renewed push to strengthen internal security and curb kidnapping, banditry, and other violent crimes threatening communities across the country. Kikelamo Okere, Global TV News.
Let's still talking security matters now. Concerned Nigerians have called on political parties across the country to put aside partisan interests and unite in the fight against insecurity, warning that no political activity can thrive in the absence of peace and stability. The call was made during a peaceful protest in Abuja under the banner of the Nigerians Unite Against Insecurity movement. Samuel Odi has the rest of the report.
The protesters, drawn from civil society groups, community-based organizations, and concerned citizens, marched through parts of the Federal Capital Territory, carrying placards and demanding urgent measures to tackle insecurity across the country. Addressing the gathering, the group said insecurity has become a national challenge that transcends political, ethics, and religious boundaries, and therefore requires a united national response. They noted that political parties, elected officials, and community leaders must work together to confront the growing threats of banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, and violent crimes affecting communities nationwide.
Hello, Nigerian! Every one of us is not safe unless we all stand up. It is therefore important to say something and say something. Policing alone is not enough. DSS alone is not enough. Military alone is not enough. Civil defense alone is not enough unless we are able to volunteer and provide security for them.
While commending the effort of the military, police, Department of State Service, civil defense, and other security agencies, the group called for stronger collaboration between security institutions and citizens. The demonstrators also urged Nigerians to volunteer useful information to security agencies and resist any attempt by criminal elements to exploit division based on ethnicity, religion, or political affiliation.
Medium to call on Mr. President to mandate all his ministers, to mandate all top appointed governmental officials to go back to their community and keep their community safe first. Because it's like Abuja has become a hidden place for all of them.
They expressed optimism that a united national front against insecurity would help restore peace, strengthen national cohesion, and create an environment conducive to the development of Nigeria. Samuel Odi, Global Television News.
The federal government says the National Regional Development Policy 2026 to 2030 will provide a unified framework to coordinate the activities of regional development commissions and unlock the economic potential of Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Regional Development, Dr. Mary Ada Ogbe, announced this at the Northwest Regional Technical Validation Workshop on the National Regional Development Policy. She said the policy became imperative following the federal government's creation of additional regional development commissions. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has called for stronger collaboration with political parties to ensure credible, peaceful, and transparent polls. Speaking at the second quarterly consultative meeting with leaders of political parties at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja, INEC Chairman Professor George Amokbito stressed that early engagement remains key to building trusts and strengthening Nigeria's democracy ahead of 2027 election. Anieche Patrick has details.
As Nigeria is entering a critical phase in its electoral calendar, INEC has urged political parties to deepen internal democracy as 2027 general elections draw closer amid legal disputes and ongoing voter registration drive. Professor Amopiton said political parties remain indispensable partners in the electoral process, noting that credible elections can only be achieved through cooperation, compliance with timeliness, and respect for democratic principles.
In suit number FC ABC ABJ CS 517-2026, U Party and INEC delivered on 20th May 2026. The court questioned certain timelines contained in the Commission's timetable and schedule of activities for the 2027 general election.
The national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Dr. Yusuf Dantele, warned that Nigeria's democratic gains risk being undermined if urgent reforms are not made to strengthen internal party democracy. He raised concerns over the legal framework guiding party primaries, saying recent experiences ahead of the 2027 elections exposed gaps that created tension, litigation, and confusion among political parties.
Therefore considers it imperative that all electoral activities be harmonized within a coherent and workable framework that promotes certainty, transparency, administrative efficiency, and equal treatment of all political parties.
Meanwhile, INEC chairman further disclosed that the commission is already intensifying preparations for upcoming polls, including the Ekiti State governorship election scheduled for June 20th, as well as several by-elections across the country on the same date. He emphasized that while respecting judicial decisions, INEC must maintain a coherent electoral calendar to avoid confusion in party activities, nominations, logistics, and election deployment. Amopiton added that the success of the 2027 elections will depend not only on its own preparedness, but also on the commitment of political parties to credible primaries, peaceful campaigns, and strict adherence to electoral rules. Anyetie Patrick, Global TV News.
Let's turn our sight away now from election matters. The joint health sector unions has warned of a possible fresh industrial action over the federal government's failure to implement the long-awaited adjustment of the consolidated health salary structure. National Chairman of the Union and President of Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, Kabiru Minijibir, made this known in an interview with newsmen on the sidelines of the 114th International Labour Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. He said the unresolved salary adjustment had remained a major concern for health workers for more than a decade, despite several engagements with government. The federal government says tough economic reforms introduced by the Tinubu administration are beginning to yield results despite persistent challenges of inflation and insecurity confronting the country. At a press briefing ahead of the 2026 Democracy Day celebration in Abuja, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, defended the administration's policy direction, insisting that recent gains across critical sectors validate the difficult situations and decisions taken over the last 3 years. Sadia Yakubu has more.
As Nigeria prepares to mark Democracy Day, the federal government has moved to reassure citizens that ongoing reforms are laying the foundation for long-term economic stability and national development. Addressing journalists in Abuja, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, acknowledged the hardship experienced by many Nigerians, but maintained that key economic indicators are showing signs of recovery under the Renewed Hope agenda. The SGF described June 12 as a defining moment in Nigeria's democratic history, honoring the sacrifices of pro-democracy heroes while reaffirming government's commitment to accountable governance and improved living standards.
The President shares in and feels your pains, and his efforts are already bearing results in reducing these pains. Evidence also shows that the country is moving in the right direction, from fragility towards firmer footing, from stopgap actions towards system reform.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, described Democracy Day as an opportunity to assess Nigerians' democratic gains, celebrate institutional resilience, and renewed commitment to nation building. According to him, the briefing was organized to present a comprehensive account of the administration's performance, showcasing achievements, confronting challenges, and outlining the government's roadmap for delivering on its renewed hope promises.
27 years of uninterrupted democratic governance is indeed a milestone worthy of celebration. It is a testament to the determination of Nigerians to uphold democratic values, strengthen national institutions, and continuously strive for a more prosperous and united nation. This year's
As the nation marks 27 years of uninterrupted democratic rule, the federal government says its focus remains on consolidating economic reforms, strengthening security, and translating the gains of democracy into tangible improvements in the lives of Nigerians. Sadia Yakubu, Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime here on Global Television. Let's turn to business for you. The federal government has announced plans to establish a Nigeria Deal Room, a new platform designed to bridge the gap between investment discussions and the execution of real investment transactions. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Oyedele, disclosed the initiative while speaking at the opening of the Invest Lagos 3.0 Summit. The State of Israel has disclosed that it has ongoing agricultural cooperation with Nigeria, noting that Israeli technology and seedlings are already being deployed by Nigerian farmers. Speaking in Abuja during Israel's 78th Independence Anniversary celebration, Israeli Ambassador to Nigeria, Michael Freeman, said Israeli companies are already operating in Nigeria. He noted that while the seeds being planted were Israeli and supported by Israeli technology, the land and workers, he said, remain Nigerian. He also said cooperation between both countries is expanding across innovation, agriculture, healthcare, security, education, and skills development. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says Nigeria's petrol import bill fell to 87.40 billion naira in first quarter 2026 from 2.27 trillion naira in first quarter 2025, representing a 96.15% year-on-year decline. The decline was largely driven by increased reliance on locally refined petroleum products, particularly from the Dangote refinery, which has reshaped Nigeria's energy trade balance. This means Nigeria spent 2.18 trillion naira less on petrol imports compared with first quarter 2025. And now time to look at the foreign scene. Pope Leo XIV has arrived in Barcelona, where he will celebrate Mass in the Sagrada Familia Basilica and bless the new tower that has made it to the world's tallest church. On day 4 of his visit to Spain, Leo XIV took off from Madrid, where he had given an unprecedented speech to Parliament, holding an open-air mass with 1.5 million people. Before departing, Leo thanked a gathering of thousands of volunteers who contributed to the huge logistical and security operations at his events in the capital, including at Real Madrid's Bernabeu Stadium. In Barcelona, he will visit the city's Gothic cathedral and lead a prayer vigil in the Olympic Stadium. All right, let's find some excitement now from the world of sports. Nigeria's preparations to host the 2027 African School Games have received a major boost, with the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa, ANOCA, expressing confidence in the country's readiness to stage the continental event. The endorsement came during a strategic review meeting in Abuja between ANOCA officials and the local organizing committee. Aniete Patrick would track those developments for us in our subsequent news broadcasts. Tonight, let's bring News Prime to a close with a look at some of our big stories. Nigeria's newly appointed Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Shola Enikanoye, has officially assumed office with a pledge to strengthen the country's diplomatic engagements and advance President Bola Tinubu's foreign policy agenda. In business, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, says Nigeria's petrol import bill fell to 87.40 billion naira in first quarter 2026 from 2.27 trillion naira in first quarter of last year. On the foreign scene, Pope Leo XIV has arrived in Barcelona, where he will celebrate a Mass in the Sagrada Familia Basilica and bless the new tower that has made it to the world's tallest church. And finally, in sports tonight, we told you preparations to host the 2027 African School Games have received a major boost, with the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa, ANOCA, expressing confidence in the country's readiness to stage the continental event. And that's all we have for you tonight on News Prime. And here is a quick reminder that we are on DSTV channel 365 and on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. On behalf of my colleagues who have made these news broadcasts possible, I am Uyag Mofwegwe, thanking you very specially for watching, and bye-bye.